Welcome back, everyone. In today's lecture, we will focus on a prerequisite aspect of structural modeling, defining load cases, load patterns, and load combinations. These steps are essential to simulate real-world forces acting on your structure, ensuring safety and compliance with design codes. By the end of this session, you will have a clear understanding of how to define load and combine them for your structural analysis. So by clicking on define menu from menu ribbons, you will define firstly the load patterns. Load patterns represent specific type of forces acting on your structure, such as dead load, live load, wind load, earthquake load, and other types of loads. So we will have enough by defining dead load and live load, and we will dive through another load types in the more advanced courses in the other coming tutorials. So by clicking on OK, we will go to define load cases. You click on load cases. As you see, load cases define how these patterns are applied during analysis. They simulate individual load conditions such as gravity loads and lateral forces, and how can they mathematically affect your model to be represented in the real world simulation. So it's very important to define your load cases meticulously. We all had enough by clicking on OK, and we will dive through advanced details in the more advanced courses, which will be represented in our channel, YouTube channel. So by clicking on OK, we'll move on to load combinations. Well, load combinations represent the stimulus application of multiple load cases to simulate realistic scenarios based on design codes, such as codes that you work on, like the American code ASCO 7 or the UBC code, or whatever code that you are working on in any region or in any country that you are in, considering that code in their design. So by clicking on add a new combination, we will specify our first combination presented by dead load and live load only. You select your live load from the drop down menu. We'll leave our scale factors by 1, so our load will not be increased. So when you design foundations, you must select the load combinations that your loads are not factored to get real stress of the soil, to confirm that your structure stress, base stress, is under the bearing capacity of the soil, so your model will be stable and under the control of the settlement required by any code that you design. So by clicking on OK, we will move on to the next combination. We will use simple combination by selecting dead load and live load only, and raise the loads by 20% for dead load and 60% for live load. We will dive through load combinations and select them from ASC 07 code in the advanced courses for our tutorial. We will have enough by selecting the dead and live combination by 1.2 and 1.6. We click on OK, and we are ready to assign our loads on our model in the next session. See you on next session. But before that, remember, by defining load patterns, load cases, and load combination, we have completed a critical step in preparing our model for structural analysis. These definitions ensure that our structure is tested under realistic conditions, adhering to safety and design standards. Great work so far. In the next session, we will dive into running the analysis and interpreting the results. See you then. Goodbye.